Now today I have two new ships to show you, and I believe that these two ships will definitely surprise you because it is, not something that they're not something that I fly that often. And if my memory serves me well, last time I flew one of these ships was like 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah, it will be definitely fun to check them out again, and it will be fun to give the ships a purpose. And in this case, their purpose will be PvP. Now, I remember someone saying that my ship hangar looks like a market, and in a way, that's actually kind of true. Although I still have to bring a lot more ships here. This is just one of my hangars. I have a bunch of them, and basically, I want to have most of my ships at one place. So I have to move a lot of things into this station. Now, the first ship that I want to show you is the Thrasher Fleet Issue. Now, this is a ship that was very hard to find, and they're not currently available in the market, so I had to basically look through other means to get my hands on all these things. And I would say that the Thrasher fleet is a very interesting ship, surprisingly. I mean, when was the last time that you saw me in a destroyer? Been a while, right? The one thing that I'm doing right now is trying to skill everything to basically have the ships maxed out. After all, the destroyer and frigate skills aren't my best, so I'm working on maxing that out. But so far, I'm pretty happy with how this little boat looks. I'm using autocannons because I don't have enough power grid for the strike cannons or for the artillery cannons, because my skills kinda suck for the shores at the moment. So when I fix that, I'll definitely try out the artillery cannons on the Thrasher. But this ship is, from what I've seen, very interesting because it can deliver some very good DPS. I have the barraging plant, so it should do really well against other frigates, the shores, and some cruisers. And I definitely will be doing some funny things, some silly things with the destroyers. After all, I have some very decent implants, and I can easily take advantage of their performance. Now, 2.2 km per second, definitely not slow, but I feel like the ship can be faster. But for a destroyer, I would say that's okay. For the purpose that this ship will be used for, I think it will do really well. So the speed is definitely not a problem. It has a very good range and very good tracking. 17.77 DPS with my current skill is actually really good. This thing will have 2,500 DPS when my skills are decently leveled, and I'm quite excited to see how it will work. That's a lot of DPS for a low tier destroyer, and I have to say the design of this thing is beautiful. I love how the Thrasher looks. It is a rusty but trusty boat, and overall I'm very happy with the aesthetics of this ship. It looks awesome. Okay, now let me dock and let me show you. I have another ship, a ship that I actually used a long time ago, back in the early days. Now, first, just to show you my power grid issues, the artillery cannons are very power grid heavy. I mean, they're usually very power grid heavy for all ships that use cannons, and for that you really have to have good skills in order to basically fit the strike cannons with my current build. But overall, definitely, yeah, I would have to sacrifice all of my lowest modules, and still I am not going to be able to fit all the cannons that I want. So yeah, definitely have to improve skills. That's a fact, and I'll do that. I mean, it shouldn't take that long. After all, they are only the star skills. And I will have to change the minimum slot modules as well, since this would be a kite, and will definitely want to have a long range disruptor for this ship. But overall, I'm very interested to see how this will work, since I started to have a lot more fun with the smaller ships, with the low tier ships, than with the higher tier ships. And I don't know, it made the whole game feel much more fun, at least for me in my case. Doesn't have to be ridiculously expensive to have fun. Even a simple destroyer can actually be very fun if you know how to use the ship, basically. And of course you have to know what targets to pick, since you can't yeet a Thrasher at a rattlesnake, for example. That's not going to end well in most cases. Actually, it depends. Depends. The bubble, the interdictors can be fun. And I also want to fly them as well, so I also have plans for interdictor destroyers, but for them I need skills. And I'll be working on that as time goes on. Now the second boat, Talwar Sniper. Now this cute little boat, I mean the Talwar is by far, I would say, my favorite destroyer in the game, my favorite whole class of any destroyer in the game. This thing, well, not this Talwar, but the tier 4 Talwar, which will be used in this video by the way, is my first ever PvP ship. And this Talwar, this is a Talwar Sniper. It has an extra low slot, although it has sacrificed one medium slot and has 4 high slots. It has very nice range with the missiles. The Talwar is still one of the best destroyer hulls, and I say best, it's a, let's say, vague term, because this thing has so much alpha damage, it slaps. I mean, the Talwar is very, very dangerous. All of the other destroyers also have a purpose, but in my perspective, from my point of view, the Talwar is just performing the best. Of course, that depends from player to player, and your own experience with the ship will probably be different, or might be the same. Again, it depends on which one of these ships you prefer. I personally prefer the Talwar hull as my destroyer of choice. I even had a Talwar 2 Assault. I loved that thing. That thing was amazing. The Talwar Assault, the Talwar 2 Assault is an amazing ship. That thing is very scary, and I'll definitely will start flying it again. But first, you know, for fun. Low tier is fun tier, as they say, and this is definitely a very, very fun little boat. Now let me show you the active stats. Of course, same thing applies to the Talwar. My skills need to be vastly improved. 261.50 DPS and 2.2 km per second is the micro orbital speed, so it's roughly the same speed as the Thrasher, but it should have much more alpha damage, and overall has more range with the small missiles, and of course it has a special mode. Now I'm not really a fan of the special mode. I know that they have changed it, and the special mode isn't the same as it used to be. So let's check it out real quick. So here you can take a look at this long list of buffs and debuffs. The one thing that I don't like is the speed reduction. It basically makes your ship move like a brick. And the destroyer is a small ship. It relies on speed and maneuverability. If you're slow, you will be dead. However, 10 km per second flight velocity with the missiles. Now that is terrifying. That is kind of matching the speed that you will see, and might even surpass the speed on the Garmur and on the Mordor ships. And also the damage application is really, really good. Of course, the rate of fire will be reduced, but the damage application and alpha damage is really high, as well as the range. It has very good range, so it is, you know, very weird to use the special mode, but I guess it might be useful in some cases, depending on what you're doing. If the target is running away, I guess you can snipe it technically, but I am not a big fan of the sniper mode on the sniper ships, because it kind of feels weird, because it is reducing your ship's speed, and for all of these ships, speed is very crucial to basically be alive. Since, you know, if you are too slow, some ships can just alpha your ship, and speed is basically key, especially for Mimata ships. Now let me just quickly scan this pilot in local. They have been here for a while, and they're on the gate. Okay, medium-sized ship, maybe a cruiser or a destroyer, perhaps an industrial ship, and they're gone. Well, they jumped. Probably got notified for, or yeah. Kind of funny when even the blue, even when someone has the blue icon, they still run when I log in. It's kind of funny. That's what happens when you have a history of shooting blues. Anyway, time to start with the combat part. I think I have some pretty hilarious. Well, I say hilarious. I think I have some pretty fun moments today. So let's start. Now, I have been asked recently, I think yesterday, is piracy making ISK? Well, I mean, I have been doing this for 3-4 years now, and I have so much items from combat, from PvP, that I can sustain myself with Plex for the next like 5 years. So yeah, I would say
Warp drive
piracy
active.
can be your ISK source, I would say, but I wouldn't make it the primary source because it is kind of difficult. I mean, it's PvP we're talking about. PvP in this game can be kind of difficult. And if you're solo, you know, some days you catch something, some days you don't catch anything, and you know, it is nice to have the PvP part as ISK income, but you know, I would still prefer to have a lot more things besides only PvP for the ISK income. Now let's go back to the Macario. You know, the first target will be a rattlesnake. Now this rattlesnake uses sentry drones, and their sentry drones are actually way down there in the mission, which is kind of weird. Which means that they have warped at 0, and then they dropped the sentries, and then they burned out, which is kind of funny and counterproductive because sentries shouldn't be used at close range. They, you know, are sentries. They have no tracking, and they are long-range weapons, long-range drones. But this rattlesnake pilot popped sentries at 0 for the mission, and then they burned out. So technically, they messed up the tracking by default. Now it does help them to hit my ship, because now I'm actually, as you can see, in the direct line of fire from the sentries. But it's not a big deal. It seems like they're not doing too much damage, and it looks like the rattlesnake is the classic DPS rattlesnake build, which is usually burned down very quickly by a DPS Macario, since ironically my tank is better than the tank on the rattlesnake with my passive build here. It's just how the Macario works, and that's a nice first kill for today. Let me take a look at the wreck.
We're under attack.
If possible, of course, unless I get scrambled. Of course I get scrambled, but I can still warp out, not a big deal. I got the loot. Didn't seem like it was too expensive. I would say probably a average rattlesnake. I don't know. We're about to find out when I warp out.
Warp drive
I
active.
still do plan on having a secondary Macario. This Macario is the old Macario. This thing is like 4 years old now, I think. Almost 4 years old, I don't know. Been a while since I got this ship. And yeah, a classic PvE. Wait a moment, where are the engineering rigs? That's a rattlesnake without rigs, without engineering rigs. A little bit cursed. Oh yeah, speaking of cursed, working on a cursed ship build video. It's gonna be released in the next couple of days. Oh my god. Let me tell you, I will have to have like a bottle of some alcohol while recording that, because man, I have seen some horrible builds lately, and yikes, it's gonna be fun to make that video for sure. Anyway, I have followed a Sunensis right through this very gate. You know, this is a Nihilus space, so not really sure what they're doing inside. I'm definitely going in. I mean, a Sunensis might be a very juicy target. You never know what you can get with these ships, and I am in. There is the Sunensis. Let's quickly go and engage. Locking on. Pointed, and now orbiting. 1.5 thousand off, and this is the tier 4 Talwar, by the way, not the sniper. This is the cheap one. This ship costs like 5 million fully built. It is ridiculously cheap, but the Sunensis has burned back to the gate, and they have jumped. And of course, you can't jump through the gate with timer. You have to basically wait out the timer before you can jump in. So yeah, but maybe they jump back. Maybe they're waiting at the other end. I don't know. In any case, when the timer is out, I'm jumping back in, and maybe they return. Who knows? I mean, I'm flying at the store versus the store, so should be fair, I guess. And this is technically a... This Talwar should be a inferior destroyer compared to the Sunedis. After all, the Sunedis is a faction destroyer. One of the very few faction destroyers available in the game. Although the Space Banana, oh my god, that ship. You know, maybe this is kind of foreshadowing the release of Yang ships, because I'm actually scaling back into destroyers. Well, scaling back, I'm making my skills for destroyers pretty good. So maybe they release Yang very soon. Everything happens for a reason, from what I noticed. So maybe I'll get to fly the Space Banana very soon. I'll definitely be flying that ship. I love it. And unfortunately, this one isn't here. Oh well. Oh, let me double check. Maybe they jump back in. Let's see. I'll jump back in, and then if they're not inside, I'll jump back out, and well, we will see what happens next. Yeah, they're not here. They left the system. Oh well. Oh well, I tried. There's also the other gate, but I'm not going to go there yet because there's no way that they have burned towards the next gate. There's just no chance. They definitely left the system. And well, we will see what happens next. Maybe they return. Maybe they do return. That would be fun. Actually, you know what? I think I will just... Yeah, let me just...
Warp drive active.
Warp the station real quick. I have to change something. Alright, well, I actually have returned back to the gate, and guess who's back as well? The Sunedis is also back, and they have accepted. Okay, they have accepted the fight, fair enough. First hit, deleted the shield. Second hit, deleted the armor. Looks like a armor Sunedis. My shield isn't taking much damage, but I will use the damage as well.
Warning, capacitor
just in case.
running low.
Second hit, third hit. Sunedis is now in low hull. Looks like this is a armor tank Sunedis, which I think is doable, but I don't know. The Talwar just has so much alpha damage. This thing is... The Talwar is pretty silly, honestly. A very silly ship. Just because of the alpha damage alone, that's the reason why. Even the tier 4 Talwar can be quite scary. Can you imagine what 10 of these ships can do? Could be quite hilarious to actually assemble a Talwar fleet, because these ships are useful. They can be very...
Warp drive
very
active.
nasty when it comes to the DPS part, or not DPS, but the alpha part, alpha damage part. It slaps, and that's all it matters, basically. If the ship slaps, it's useful. As simple as that. Now, for some reason, I have that feeling that this might have been a expensive Sunedis, although they're usually over 100 million, but let's see what this... 388 million, not bad. Actually a pretty juicy kill, not gonna lie. Okay, that's a very interesting missile. Okay then. Integration rigs on a Sunedis. Well, I say the player loves his ship. I respect that. I also did some very silly builds with a lot of my ships, so, you know. Although, did I ever do a
Undocking.
integrated Sunedis build? I think I did, actually. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. Although, I did a lot of builds. Like, I made over 1,000 videos of this game. If I get something wrong, my apologies. There's a lot of videos that are playing in my mind, so maybe I did make a Sunedis with integration, maybe not. But knowing how I build ships, yeah, there's a good chance that I made a Sunedis with integrations, so... Yeah, although these were not good integrations, by the way. You can get a very tanky integrated Sunedis easily, although that build didn't really look to be that tanky. In any case, next target we have a Hurricane prototype. Now, I actually thought to use my Malar for this, but for some reason the ship wasn't in my system, in the system here, so I just took the first ship that was available. In most cases, that's the Celos, since this thing shreds. I mean, the Celos is wild. If you haven't tried out this ship yet, I definitely recommend that you do try it out, because it's been buffed and it's wild how crazy this thing can be. Its DPS is, with the battle mode, if you have barrage implant, it's really good. Even without a barrage implant, Even the artillery support works really well on this thing as
We're
well.
under attack.
Although I prefer the barrage implant because it just slaps. It spits bullets so fast. It's ridiculous.
Warp
A
drive
buffed
active.
Cinnabel basically. With a clocking device, of course. That's the best part of this ship. It can cloak. High DPS, decent tank, very fast, angel warp speeds, and it can cloak. The definition of wild. Now this was a very cheap prototype, although not a bad build. I would use a either a large battery and a large booster, or actually, yeah, a large battery and a large booster. It should be able to fit. That could be a very tanky little boat, and a cheap one as well. Next we have a prophecy. Now I think I have been playing the cat and mouse game with this prophecy for quite a while actually. We have been. I warp in, the prophecy warps out. I wasn't really able to get a good warp into the prophecy. Always, always a little bit late, and the prophecy almost like always warps a bit further away. Not really sure what the sequence of videos I have arranged here. Maybe I messed up a little bit. We're about to find out anyway. Since I know I tried to catch this prophecy a couple times, and a couple times they escaped. But let's see what happens. Maybe they are not going to escape. Of course. Okay. Yeah, that was the. Alright, so they did warp out this time. Fair enough. Again, this was a very bad warping. They were at 0, and this prophecy seems to be. At the time, I didn't realize this, but this prophecy seems to be a bit faster than the usual prophecy. So when I did realize that, I think it was right around the second or third attempt that the prophecy was fast.
Active.
It means that they have a large afterburner or a large micro warper. Now my bet is that they have a large afterburner, because a large micro warp drive doesn't really work that well on the prophecy. It's not really easy on the ship's capacitor. While the afterburner can deliver some good speed, but at the same time the afterburner also doesn't cripple your capacitor. Now, approaching the prophecy, 61 kilometers, and yeah, they have warped out. That's the second attempt. And they were also at 0. So by the time I swapped ships, they have moved over 60 kilometers, which is a dead giveaway that
Warp drive active.
the ship has some serious propulsion module there. So it is a important thing to note that they have a overprop module. My bet is a afterburner, but we will find out. Now here I actually tried to go back, but eventually after quite a while they have returned. I swapped ships again, and I swapped the build, so I have the long range kite cells. Since I usually fly this ship with a kite build, although the autocannons are also very nice, but I started to enjoy this thing with the long range build, because it is crazy how much DPS it has. Now they have locked me on first, which means that this prophecy is going to stay. Okay, well, fair enough. I'm approaching to 25 kilometers. I must not get slingshotted, so I have to be careful. Currently focusing on piloting a little bit. Have to basically maintain a distance from the prophecy, since after all, this is a kite ship. Not really meant to be used for close range, although it has enough tracking to do that, but I like to do things properly. And they are still not there. They have launched the drones. Okay, approaching 22 kilometers. And let's open fire. Battle mode is active.
We're under
Prophecy
attack.
shield is gone. Prophecy launched the drones at me. Damage control is activated. Based on the amount of damage that I'm doing on the armor, doesn't seem to be that tanky, so maybe a full DPS prophecy. I thought to use the jar of tailors, but I figured out to wait to see if they have any tank. If they did have any tank, I'll just wait out until tank becomes a bit weaker, and then I'll just launch the jar of tailors. But in this case, that wasn't really necessary. Even without the Gyrostalers, I managed to destroy the Prophecy. That was actually a very solid catch. Alright, so let's take a look at the... Let's take a look at the contents of the wreck. And then I will warp out. Well, not bad, some C-types. Okay, I'll take it, some drones. Any loot is good loot. The fun factor and experience is the best loot. It will always be the best loot, so I'm not really greedy when it comes to loot. No need to be greedy, honestly. Just enjoy the game, have fun, basically. That's the best loot that you can get, and nothing is as valuable as having fun, basically. Alright, let me align myself towards the station. Micro warp drive on. Let's take a look at the kill. Well, the Prophecy had no high slots, okay, and there's a large afterburner, so they haven't used any high slots because they had the power grid full because of the afterburner. So they did have a ore prop module, and it was an afterburner, so my guess was correct. Alright, let's go to the next target. We have a Caracal Navy. I am in the... What is this thing? Oh, it's a Mauler. It is a Mauler. I love it. And this thing is...
Warp drive active.
I don't know. You'll be surprised how much fun the low tier ships are, because you can have some pretty good performance out of these things. And one of my friends has a Mauler that can tank like 7,000 DPS or something. I always forget to ask. I think it's like 6.5 or 7.5 thousand DPS, and that is some crazy DPS that they can withstand with the tier 5 Mauler, not even the Guardian. With the Guardian, I think they can pull off much more, and the Guardians are definitely a very good bait. Now this is an example of why I usually sometimes launch the cells on a smaller ship, because you know, stabs are a real thing, and a lot of ships are stabbed. Sometimes you need to kill the ship before they can stab out, and this Caracal Navy, obviously, as you can see, had stabs, and they have warped out, which is fine. Should have picked dual scanners, but you know, I just took the default build that I have on the Mauler. Didn't really anticipate to have a stab at Caracal, because you know, they're cheap ships, and after all, who stabs a Caracal? I mean,
warp drive active.
Yeah, well, they are stabbed. So if I were in a cells, that Caracal would have been blown up in 3 seconds, because that's just how much alpha damage and DPS that thing has. So this is basically the reason why I sometimes eat a expensive ship on a cheaper ship, because you know, you never know how many stabs they can get, and when you want to get a kill, sometimes you just have to eat the best thing you have, which is, you know, I guess less fun than to eat something that's on the equal footing as your target, and that's the reason why I have all these lower tier ships. You know, it is much more fun to use a lower tier ship versus lower tier ship than to use a high tier ship versus high tier ship. Although technically, factory ships are tier 0, so they're technically lower tier than tier 4 or 5, for example. So yeah. But yeah, doesn't change the fact that it is much more fun to use these ships than to use the more expensive ones. So you can just have fun with these things and literally not worry about the ship dying. I mean, I can lose like 50 of these ships. I don't care because they're cheap. But I don't want to lose a Celos, because that's a 10 billion ISK loss. And yeah, that's the big difference that we have here. An example of me eating something expensive at something cheap is basically this little example here. Celos versus Thorax. Well, I think we already established the reason why I'm eating the ship at the Thorax, because you know, I expect that they have stabs, and it means that I have to kill it before it can warp out. And the Celos is just a perfect ship for that job, since this thing just wrecks. This thing just wrecks cruisers. It's one of the wildest ships that I have right now. And there we go. One hit, second hit, third hit, and fourth hit. There we go. Thorax blown up. And let's take a look at the wreck. Did I just... Oh my god, did I just wreck the wreck? How do you even do that? How do you wreck wreck? Well, something that I invented right now. Oh my god, I messed up. You know, if this was a Barghest wreck, I would be launching this
Warp
tablet
drive
to the
active.
moon right now, but it's just a Thorax. Just a Thorax wreck, so probably nothing expensive inside, hopefully. I mean, imagine if there was a faction drone inside. That would be quite... That would be quite hilarious if there was a faction drone inside. 110 million, well, not bad. Definitely not something... Nothing expensive, thankfully. Next, we have a retriever. Oh no. I'm about to... Oh no. I'm
Warp
yeeting a
drive
Talwar
active.
at a retriever. I think it's fair. The retriever is a... tier 6. I forgot what tier it is. Would be hilarious to get a retriever kill with a Talwar. Now, I kind of had a feeling that this thing will be stabbed. Just foreshadowing something, but... Should have picked Scramblers, honestly. When I do something stupid as this, I should just pick a Scrambler because, you know, I mean, it's an industrial ship. Shouldn't be that difficult to kill. But it does some good damage. I mean, 1.2 thousand damage per hit on the retriever is pretty good. Pretty solid. Orbiting well within the ship's optimal range. The retriever took a third hit, low shield. They launched a drone and they warped off. Oh no, oh well, yeah. It was a stab, the retriever. Kind of expected it, honestly. Usually these ships are stabbed. Should have picked two scroungers, but you know, whatever. Was still fun. Was still a fun yeet. I mean, it's still hilarious to just yeet this thing at anything I see. Oh my god, it brings back memories. I really like this ship. The Talwar is truly a scary little boat. Now here I'm actually warping from belt to belt because I didn't really see where they went. Maybe they went to a different belt.
Warp
maybe,
drive
you
active.
know, just trying to see if my luck is any better, but we all know the answer to that one. Me and good luck? Nope. That's like, I don't know. These are the two things that never go hand in hand. I have no luck.
Warp drive active.
Can't rely on luck if you have no luck, and in my case I have no luck, so can't really rely on it. But still, you know, for the... Sometimes, if you don't count on it, it happens, you know. Although that's been happening less and less in my case, but it was worth a try. Okay, let's just dock. And yes, you can dock with timer, by the way. You basically click on the station, click dock, and leave the screen. And pray that the game doesn't crash, and pray that the game doesn't disconnect. Since, you know, this is a very risky maneuver, but with cheap ships, no big deal. With expensive ships, yeah. Longest warp in history with a expensive ship. But I would say you can practice this little maneuver with cheap ships
Docking request
because, you know, it
accepted.
works and you can dock easily. Alright, well, let's undock and let's go to the next target. Now, what do we have here? Well, let's find out. Since I'm in a Talwar means that we have something small and we have a magnet cover tops. Now, this frigate is actually, where are they?
Warp drive
oh,
active.
Looks like I'm warping to a planet, and that means that they are probably collecting planetary materials or something. Well, they are no longer at a planet, so Maybe they decided to go and run a exploration sites. We'll have to check to see.
Warp drive
We'll have to
active.
scan again actually, since I don't have any saved locations of any scanning sites in this system, so I have to go back. Okay, so I've scanned them
Undocking.
down. They were in an exploration site, and now I am going back to the. I'm going to the yeah. Let's go to the cover top screws. They are inside. They are in the exploration site, and
Warp drive
if
active.
it ever happens that a Astro runs one of these sites, I'm throwing the Talwar at the Astro. I don't care. I'm throwing the Talwar at the Astro. Would be pretty hilarious to get a Astro kill with a Talwar, but you know, good practice to kill a magnet cover tops first. And there they are. I bet they didn't see this one coming, and I can bet they didn't see a Talwar coming to them. Pointed, and now I'll orbit at 16 kilometers. First hit, we reached half armor on the magnet core tops. Second volley launched. Ship is now into hull. And the third one is being launched. Should kill it. There we go. Frigate destroyed. Let's take a look at the wreck. Well, okay, I didn't really expect a good loot, but you never know. Well, still a very nice kill. Would be funny
Warp
because
drive
I mean
active.
it is funny because most ships that I kill with the Talwar are more expensive than this ship. Since I made this thing as cheap as possible. This is one of the most ridiculous cheap ships that I own right now. And I might be able to make it even cheaper. Okay, 17 million, not bad. Okay, let's go to the next target. What do we have? A Catalyst Navy. Alright, interesting. Now, I think this Catalyst might be stabbed.
Warp drive
I don't
active.
know. In any case, we're about to find out. Cells versus Catalysts. You'll be surprised, but these Navy destroyers are no joke. They're very interesting ships. And you'll be surprised, but this Catalyst actually locked me first, and
We're under
they
attack.
shot me first. Okay, well, that's interesting. And 3 nice hits, and the Catalyst got destroyed. They were using rifle
We're
trailers.
under attack.
That was interesting. Not really sure why they decided to aggro first, but they did. And let's warp out.
Warp drive active.
And let's cloak. There we go. Could potentially be a expensive kill. We are about to find that out very soon. Okay, let's take a look at the kill. 58 million, not bad. A PvP Catalyst Navy. Okay, looked like a... Actually, you know what? This looks like a bait ship, honestly. Interesting. Ranged build as well with a dampener. Well, then I can dock. Since they did have the criminal timer, I didn't have any timer this time around.
Warp drive
Which
active.
is rare, usually I'm the one who opens fire first, but in this case that didn't happen. And let's go to the next target. We have a Executioner, which I actually forgot if that's a tier... Wait, what tier was that? Tier 4? And in any case, I'm meeting the Talwar. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Warp drive active.
For fun. For the lols and giggles, I guess. And actually, it is pretty hilarious to fly this thing. There is the executioner. Well, they have full armor. Pointed. Okay, first hit, and yeah, and the next hit will just blow this ship up. Okay, fair enough. And the executioner has been executed, I guess. Okay, let's see if I can
We're
get the
under
pod as well.
attack.
Yeah, I can. Perfect. And now let's warp out.
Warning.
Been a pretty
Capacitor running low.
pretty fun run today, honestly. I actually had so much fun recording
Warp
this.
drive active.
These small ships are just ridiculously fun. Started to enjoy them a lot more than the expensive ones, that's for sure. Since I don't have to worry about losing any of these ships. If I do happen to lose them, I'll just laugh because they're just so cheap. These are so cheap, but they're so fun. And overall, definitely give these ships a chance because, man, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, it's so fun. More fun than than some of the other ships that I usually fly. Anyway, that was a very nice run. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe. As always, I'll see you next time.